Ever since the season ended, there's been some doubts on JOe Gibbs Racing retaining their driver lineup for the 2025 season. We already know that one of their drivers, Truex Jr, is retired after 2024, but there is one more driver in the team that could exit before the start of next season. And folks, this is a big one. After the 2024 season ended, Denny Hamlin posted a farewell message to his sponsor, FedEx. This marked an end to a relationship that started all the way back in 2005. Since then, there has been speculation that JOe Gibbs is looking to change the driver of the number 11 team. And now, the first change to the team has been made, starting with the crew chief, Chris Gabehart, who has been Hamlin's crew chief since 2019. He and Hamlin had formed a good relationship with each other and was comfortable working together. The crew chief changed for the number 11 car, with Chris Gabehart transitioning to competition director and Chris Gale taking over as crew chief, could signify that JOe Gibbs Racing is laying down the groundwork for broader changes to the team. This shift could be the first step in preparing the number 11 team for a future without Denny Hamlin, as his sponsorship situation remains uncertain and retirement remains a possibility. Chris Gabehart's promotion positions him to contribute to the organization in a broader capacity, leveraging his strategic expertise across all JGR teams. His departure from the number 11 car creates an opportunity for Chris Gale, who brings experience and familiarity with JGR's operations, to step in and potentially align with a new driver, should one be needed. Gale's leadership could help ensure continuity for the team, whether it retains Hamlin or transitions to a new era. This change might also reflect JGR's strategy to revitalize the number 11 team, keeping it competitive regardless of the driver situation. Preparing for a potential driver change early allows JGR to ensure the car remains a contender, whether it's piloted by a veteran, a rising star, or a driver from outside the current lineup. These adjustments hint at the possibility that Gibbs is positioning the number 11 team to adapt seamlessly to what could be a significant shift in its future. While this news may have been strategic for the team in the long run, Denny Hamlin was certainly shocked by the news. "I certainly was shocked," Hamlin said in a media availability. "That's all I'll say. The first few days was a shock, but I'm moving on," Hamlin said. "There's nothing I can do to change anything that happened, and JGR is doing what they feel is best for them, and I totally understand that. And if all of our program gets better, the 11 car is gonna run better as well, right? And I think that all of us, all the teams, knew that we needed to have better results than what we had at the end of the year. They feel like this is the change they need to make to get that, and that the 11 team will benefit from those changes." Denny Hamlin admitted that the decision to change the crew chief for the number 11 car initially came as a surprise, describing the first few days after the announcement as a shock. This reaction underscores the depth of Hamlin's connection with Chris Gabehart, who had been a vital part of his team's success for several seasons. Together, they achieved numerous wins and playoff appearances, making the decision to shake up the dynamic a significant adjustment for Hamlin. However, Hamlin's response also reflects his professionalism and understanding of the broader goals for JOe Gibbs Racing. His ability to move forward highlights his focus on ensuring the number 11 car remains competitive, regardless of the circumstances. Hamlin also recognized that the decision was driven by a desire to improve performance across the board. "If all of our program gets better, the 11 car is going to run better as well, right?" he added, expressing optimism that the changes would ultimately benefit not just his team, but the entire organization. He noted that results at the end of the season fell below expectations and accepted that adjustments were necessary. While Hamlin's initial reaction was one of shock, his measured comments show his willingness to embrace change for the greater good of JGR and his commitment to striving for better results in the future. But given Hamlin's age, will he be able to adjust to this new change? Here's what he said about that. "Someone of my age, I think the easy answer would say, well, you're just an old dog. You're not going to learn new tricks. You're not going to want to listen to anyone to tell you how to do it differently," Hamlin said. "But I've made it very clear to Chris Gale that I do not want you treating me with kid gloves. You need to tell me when I need to improve in something, or there's an area that I'm weak in as a driver. I need that feedback. And I think that as long as he's comfortable with that, we're going to have a successful relationship, because I am very self-aware and I need someone to hold me accountable to be the best out there." The fact is that Hamlin's performances throughout his career have not been enough to bag the title. Although he has emerged as a challenging competitor in most of the years he has raced in NASCAR, he has never won a single Cup Series title. Hence, he claims that he is open to feedback from his new crew chief, Chris Gale. But from all the news that has come in the past few weeks, it looks as though JOe Gibbs Racing is preparing for a future without Denny Hamlin. With the recent crew chief changes and the uncertainty surrounding his future as a driver for JOe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin appears to be shifting his focus more heavily towards his role as co-owner of 23XI Racing. This transition highlights Hamlin's evolution within NASCAR from a pure competitor to a leader shaping the sport's future. As co-founder of 23XI Racing alongside basketball legend Michael Jordan, Hamlin has already played a pivotal role in building a team that has become a competitive force in a short span. The organization has earned multiple victories, playoff appearances, and significant attention, not just for its on-track success, but also for its ability to attract high-profile sponsors and talent. Hamlin's focus as a team owner allows him to leverage his experience as a driver while nurturing the next generation of NASCAR talent. Drivers like Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick have benefited from his mentorship and leadership, and Hamlin's insight into the sport provides a competitive edge for 23XI Racing. His ownership role also enables him to shape the culture and strategy of the team, ensuring its long-term viability and success. The challenges surrounding his sponsorship and future with JGR may have further accelerated this shift. Without the certainty of a driving role, Hamlin's commitment to 23XI Racing could deepen, allowing him to fully embrace the responsibilities and opportunities of ownership. At the same time, this shift does not mean Hamlin is stepping away from the driver's seat entirely. His experience and competitive spirit suggest he will continue to balance both roles as long as possible, potentially even driving for 23XI Racing in the future if circumstances align. Ultimately, Hamlin's transition reflects on his adaptability and vision. While he remains a fierce competitor on the track, his growing focus on team ownership shows a long-term commitment to NASCAR, ensuring that his impact on the sport will continue well beyond his driving career. So now, Hamlin and JOe Gibbs Racing will have to get together and discuss what's the best way forward for both of them. If Hamlin wishes to stay in JGR, he needs to find a new sponsor that can help the team with funding. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense financially to keep Hamlin in the team. The other option would have been to drive for his own team with 23XI Racing. There have been conversations about 23XI entering a third car to the grid. This was confirmed last week, and Riley Herbst has been announced as the team's third driver. So it's unlikely that Hamlin will replace Herbst. The final option would be to call it a career and retire from NASCAR. This will be a difficult decision for him, but the fact is that he is 44 years old, and no sponsor would want to sign with him as it would only be short-term deals. Instead of spending his final years in NASCAR searching for a new sponsor and adjusting to a new crew chief, Hamlin could retire and be with his family. There's no doubt that Hamlin has done the work to become a successful NASCAR driver. Although he hasn't won a title, he does hold a strong legacy in the sport. In the coming weeks, the future of Denny Hamlin at JOe Gibbs Racing will likely become clearer. As the sport evolves, so too must its drivers and teams, and Hamlin now finds himself at a crossroads. Whether he secures new sponsorship to remain with JGR, transitions fully to his role as a team owner at 23XI Racing, or decides to hang up his helmet, his impact on NASCAR is undeniable. Hamlin's career has been marked by consistent success, resilience, and a relentless drive for excellence. While the number 11 car's future may be uncertain, one thing is clear: Hamlin's influence on the sport extends far beyond the driver's seat. Whether as a competitor, mentor, or team owner, his legacy will endure, and his contributions will continue to shape NASCAR for years to come. Do you think Hamlin should retire from NASCAR or race longer to try to win the title? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.